Hello everyone and welcome to the Common Corner. It feels like it's been a long time since I've sat at this desk, even though it was only earlier today that I was doing some journaling. But since last week we had a lovely time together on a YouTube live, it's been a few weeks since I've sat down and actually talked out loud while I'm at the Common Corner. I am not feeling my best self today, but regardless, this routine of sitting down on a Sunday and having a little chat is really important to me, so I wanted to kind of show up for myself nevertheless. And I thought that we'll do what feels most comfortable for me, which is just having a chat about my daily pages. Since the last few weeks haven't been the last few weeks I've done videos on something that aren't about my Avec, I think. That's what comes to mind, I think, at least right now, is that I haven't done videos so much about my Avec, so I haven't had the chance to show you most of my October daily pages, which is quite interesting because that's the one thing that I'm every week most looking forward to sharing. But I have been focusing on other topics, so I haven't chatted through the daily pages. So I thought that this is what we shall do today. Also because I have been feeling really keen to take photos of my daily pages and share little details in that way. So I thought that today we'll go through what I have been up to in October, and then after today I'm hoping to take a couple of detailed pictures of these pages and share them both on the YouTube community tab as well as on Instagram. My Instagram handle is the.common.corner, so feel free to be on that side of the internet as well. I'm hoping to share some details of my pages. Okay. But yes, why I said that is because I've been wanting to do that for a few weeks now, but somehow I felt like I wanted to talk through these pages here on YouTube before actually taking photos of them and sharing the details. Or sharing photos of the details. So I thought we would do that. And here you can also see a little guide that you might not have before unless you watched my kind of quote-unquote unboxing of my 2025 Hobonichi books. It wasn't really an unboxing, but I unraveled the books and had a look at them, and this was my kind of the extra freebie that I got from Hobonichi, and actually it has surprisingly been coming into use very naturally so in the past few weeks, and that was kind of unexpected, but I've just allowed it to happen, and that's all right. But I hope to show you that a little bit more in a bit because it has something to do with my daily pages. Okay, so let's go back to actually October, because I feel like that's a good place to start. In a way, I guess this will also be a little October reflection, which I find is a wonderful opportunity when you're in notebooks. You have a chance to kind of look back on the previous month through pages, and then especially in the Hobonichi cousin books, whether it's the A6, the Avec, or the A5, whether it's the A6, the A5, or the Avec in either sizes. The Hobonichi cousin has this what is this called? Like a cover page for the upcoming month. So every month you get a new cover page, and in a way it creates like a little book within a book, and that just gives a really nice mental space to reflect on the month that exists between these two cover pages. So I thought we would start from here. I really enjoyed the cover that I made for October. It was largely done when I was still in Hong Kong, and I had a really fun time making it, and I finally got to use this sticker from Honey Plum Paper. I think that's what it's called. I always forget their shop name, but I think I have it either in this. Yes, Honey Plum Paper. Okay, thank you, memory, for backing me up. Yeah, I had been saving it from the end of June when I went to the Manchester Journal Fest, or Stationery Fest, Manchester Stationery Fest. I had been saving it ever since that, and I got to use a few of the things that I got in Hong Kong as well. This has been an interesting month because I think overall, October has been one of the best months for me personally. Somehow it just feels like that out of this whole year. But I also really enjoy the pages that I created in October, even though there's a few kind of empty spots in the beginning, as this is when I was in Hong Kong. And life picked up quite quickly when I got back. So I haven't had the chance to kind of go back in here and recall those memories that I had on these days. Even though it still feels for me very, very important to do that, because this trip was a really important one for me, and my Avec is my main memory keeping book for this year and also for last year. So I want to make sure that there is memories to look back on these pages as well. But I'm not rushing myself to do that. And here we have an entire empty spread, which is, I think, the first time that it's ever happened the whole time that I've been in a Hobonichi book. But that's really interesting. Anyway, it's fun to have like a random empty spread between my full pages. But once again, this is going to be backlogged. And I rarely have pages to backfill. So when I do, it's kind of like a fun little project for me to do something different with these pages, and I'm looking forward to it. Even though I don't usually plan when I backlog my pages, it just sometimes comes to me that, oh, today I want to work on these pages and think about the memories that I had on these days. Now that I'm actually talking about it, it makes me feel like I want to do that today, but we will see. This is when I came back from Hong Kong, and you can see right away just the difference between these two spreads. Here I was in Hong Kong, extremely busy on both of these days, and here I got back to London, not so busy, and a lot of thoughts, a lot of things that I wanted to archive. So you can see the difference between these two spreads, and I really love this spread. It's very messy, and it was very much done in like a go with the flow feeling, and using ephemera from Hong Kong. So I had a really, really fun time doing it. Yeah. And then from here onwards, I have just kept going with the flow with my pages and have been enjoying it a lot. And I think ever since I went to Hong Kong, I got a lot of new thoughts while I was there, and I've been reflecting on different aspects of my life ever since, and that can also be seen in my pages, which is really rewarding in a way, when you can see that there has been a change in your mind, like change in your even worldview, and it's been reflected on your pages. These might not look very different to anyone else but me, maybe, but there is a slight change in kind of the layouts, and I've written across the page a few times this month, which is a very small difference rather than writing in these columns, but for me it feels different. Difficult to explain though. Yeah, I've been doing a bit more drawings as well, and a bit more like what's it called, like collaging, which has been quite fun. And then slowly I've been getting into like an autumnal, very, very seasonal mood within these pages as well. Yeah, which is really fun. And there's a few stickers from Hong Kong that I got from there. And one thing that this is actually a really lovely reminder of a little habit that I've had over the past 3 weeks. So ever since I came back from Hong Kong, I have been eating the same breakfast. And the breakfast is red grapefruit, like chopped up, fresh raspberries, and then on top of the grapefruit I put a little bit of honey because it's usually quite bitter. And then I put some peanut butter, and then all of that over some Greek yogurt. So that has been my breakfast, and I've been really obsessed with it. Of course, you put the Greek yogurt first and all toppings afterwards, but I've been really obsessed with that ever since I came back from Hong Kong. So this red grapefruit sticker is a good reminder of that. October has been a gloomy one as well in London, which I guess is really appropriate for the month. you know, we celebrate the gloom of it all, of life in October, so it's felt appropriate. And I was really happy to use these stickers from Alex Thomas Creative. It's their illustration, and I really love these too. It was a big stormy day that day, in the middle of the month. And in October, something else that's quite big happened. So I finished up my first block at the hospital for this academic year, which was in pediatrics, so children's health. And then I had 1 week of studying, which I believe is this week that we're looking at right now. And during that week of lectures, I was preparing to go on placement for obstetrics and gynecology, which is for women's health in general, and includes also people who are pregnant. So that's a big change, and you'll be able to see that reflected on the pages that are to come in just a little bit. This is actually a portrait of myself that my friend took of me, but it's done on a really old Polaroid, and I think she had the lighting setting like just a bit off, so the photo came out really dark. And this was done like a few years ago, but I was visiting her on this Tuesday because it was her birthday, and we were looking through old photos, and she gave me this old Polaroid of me, which I was happy to get because like it's a very tangible and fun memory. I'm actually standing in the big hall of Tate Modern, which is a modern art museum in London, a really cool one, I might add. So I'm standing in that hallway here, and it's a good memory. It's a really good memory. I remember it very vividly. The leaves have gotten such a lovely color this month. They really have, and I have a few leaves stuck in these pages over this month as well. I've been reading a bit more, which is also somehow appropriate to this season of slowing down and spending more time inside. Oh, and then I had a few lovely days of getting excited over 2 new pens, one of which can be seen here, my lovely deep red KawecoALSports, and the same friend also gifted me an ink that has been now in this pen ever since, and that has been my go-to red ink. So this is a very good like memory from this day. And then the next day, I remember I went to see a friend, and we got some really good coffee from Arabica. It's a coffee brand that I've been wanting, or like a cafe chain that I've been wanting to try for a really long time. They are a chain, but they make some brilliant, really unique coffee and coffee blends. So I really recommend trying them. And they had the most beautiful business card which showed exactly where this specific cafe was, which is in the Spitalfields Market nearby Liverpool Street Station. Highly recommend. You can also see this like themed sticker a few times, I think. So one is here, and then one was, I think, on the day that I came back from Hong Kong. Yeah. And this is actually a PET tape that I got from Hong Kong. Of course, I'm gonna include this in the video that I'm making about my stationery picks from Hong Kong, which is hopefully gonna be coming in a few weeks. I know I've been talking about that video for a while, but it does require some more energy to make than my usual chatty videos. But I'm looking forward to, regardless, showing you what I got from Hong Kong from a stationery perspective. And this PET tape, I got just like one repeat of it. This shop that I went to was really wonderful because you can only get one repeat. You don't have to get the entire roll, even though I love this PET tape so much that I am now regretting that I didn't get more than just one repeat. But luckily, I can always go back to the same place and hopefully get some more. Here's a little pocket that I made from a napkin, a breakfast place napkin that me and Ka went to. Ka's my partner. And this is the receipt from there. And something quite unfortunate that I've been experiencing is that whenever there's this certain glue, and it's actually from the brand Glue, I'm pretty sure that this is the Kokuyo. It's a Kokuyo product. But some of you might recognize, I think it's a Japanese brand. Whenever I use this glue on my pages, for example, to glue down this napkin, when I put this on top, something about the chemicals in this glue caused the receipt to change color. And that has happened a few times when I'm using it on receipts in general. So I would just be careful if you're using that glue in terms of receipts. This weekend was lovely. It was the weekend preceding Halloween weekend, so 19th to 20th, and we spent a lot of time outside. We've discovered nearby our home there's huge forests and wildlife, like they're like preserving the wildlife, and they have deers, and it's just really beautiful, and it reminds me a little bit of the forests in Finland. So it was really wonderful to discover that forest together with Ka. And since we've only moved to this area maybe a few months ago, so we haven't had time to discover these places. So I'm just really happy to be next to nature, and it's in my Finnish soul that I need to be nearby nature and visit a forest at least once or twice a month. So that's been really lovely, and I really enjoyed this backfilled page that I did because we spent so much of the day in the nature, and then I went to a Halloween party. Did we both go? No, it was just me. I went to a Halloween party that day. Yeah. Lovely. And then the next day on the Sunday, we went to, I think we did go to another outside kind of forest area as well, but I can't quite remember. But I put down this deer sticker from Alex Thomas Creative with some mushrooms. That was a good reminder of the previous day's activities. And I think this was... I'm getting some of my days mixed up a little bit, I think. I'm thinking if the 20th... No, that was not last Sunday. Okay, I'm getting things mixed up, I think. I was thinking if this was the day that I did the YouTube live, which I don't think it is, because, yeah. I'm getting my memories twisted up with what I've talked to you guys about. But yes, this was a lovely, lovely Sunday. Okay. Moving on, this is where I started my hospital placement in obstetrics and gynecology, and this is where these stickers from, I think they are by Cameo, I think that's how I remember the brand. So I need to actually pull out the other sticker sheet that I have from the same company, otherwise I won't remember. Yes, so it's Cameo. So they have some brilliant stickers, and they all have a very unique texture. And I actually got this hint of these stickers, this tip from Megan Rhiannon when I met her at a journal meetup a few months ago, and she brought some of these along, and surprise, surprise, Hong Kong had these at every corner, and they even had a medical themed sticker set that I've now used the most of. Because I've had such an eventful time at the hospital, I've just kind of used up these medical related stickers every day. And that's what I'm really, really excited to show you actually. By the way, side note, just now I mentioned my go-to breakfast for the last 3 weeks. This is the peanut butter that I've been using, and I've been loving it so much that once I finished one of the jars, I ripped up the label and of course put it down here. An ode to my favorite peanut butter, it says here. So yes, day 1 of obstetrics and gynecology, and I have this lovely red stethoscope here to mark the start of another clinical placement. And here I think I just had a little to-do list for studying. The next day was my first time getting to observe a surgery. You would think that in my 4 years of medicine, or a bit less than that actually, 3 years of medicine, because I'm now in the beginning of my 4th year, you'd think that I would have gotten to go into surgeries a bit more than, well, for the first time, just a few weeks ago. But unfortunately, in our medical school, kind of the placements that we get and the types of placements are slightly randomized. So last year I didn't get any surgical placements. So this year was my first time in a theater, which is we call the room that the surgeries are done in. So I put down all of these surgery related items, which is like a pair of these, well, they kind of look like tweezers, scissors, you know, someone scrubbing in. You have to always hold your hands up to make sure you're not touching anything that is not sterile. The patient will always have a blood pressure cuff on while they're under the general anesthetic, and this is the monitor that the anesthetist are looking at, a scalpel and some hand sanitizer. And I just thought that this is a really nice way of remembering what a special day that first day was in theater. And what I saw was a well, I don't know if it's actually a bit much if I start talking through the surgeries that I've seen. But the surgeries I saw on this day were in relation to making sure that the delivery of a baby goes safely, or a procedure that needed to happen so to save the new mother's life. If someone is interested, feel free to, of course, read through these things, but I'm thinking that I wouldn't talk through all of them because some of it might be quite graphic, I guess. So yes, but it's always me and my medical student friends talking through all of these really gory surgeries, because we're very excited to learn about these things, and it's a big, how should I say, it's a big privilege to get to learn in this way, to put it simply. There's a lot more I could say on that, but yeah. And after these 2 days, I decided that I was going to keep archiving these new memories and these new experiences in this ink, which is, I think, the Diamine Sepia ink. No, I might be remembering wrong. I'm trying to find it. Where is this ink? I have a little ink box. I only have 2 bottles, and then the rest of them are ink samples, actually, all of which I got from this Joe Journals. And that one ink, I am not sure where I placed it, but I'm pretty sure that it's the Diamine Sepia. I did note it down, I think, somewhere. Yes, Diamine Sepia. Okay, good. And I was using my Twisby Eco to do these bits. And I really liked how they look. So the theme continues on the next page, where on this Wednesday it was my first time seeing a cesarean section. Once again, I used the same cameo stickers here that were once again relevant to the cesarean section surgery. And it was a very unusual cesarean section. I have written about it in here, but once again, read at your own discretion. Yeah. And then just an example of how quickly a medical student can switch off once coming home from the hospital. I've written about this really interesting case here. Of course, everything is anonymized, so no need to worry about that. But after writing about this case that I saw in relation to the cesarean section, on the other side I have study, clean kitchen, put away laundry, organized bathroom, sticker and notebook time, in bed watching Gilmore Girls. And it's just like 2 sides of the same coin, I guess. The theme continues on the next day. I made quite a lot of progress in my hospital placement in this first week, because I went from seeing a cesarean section for the first time to then the next day actually scrubbing in and getting to assist in a surgery. Although now I was on the gynecology aspect of my placement, and it was an endometriosis surgery that I was assisting on. The same day after I came back home, there was a really lovely piece of Happy Mail waiting for me, which was Megan's Home Alone Halloween zine. And it was a really beautiful piece of artwork, and I have it in my bookshelf, like on like a prime spot. And I had a wonderful time reading it, enjoying the little stickers that came along with it, and just kind of getting more and more ready to enjoy the spooky season kind of full on, if I should say that way, you know. I had been kind of slowly settling into the season all along October, but getting this zine, I really just was able to feel the Halloween joy from Megan's writing and her artwork. So I kind of took that as part of me this evening. I have inky fingers, as you might see, by the way. We were just inking Ka's new Twispy Eco that we got from Joe. Thank you, Joe. You're like fueling this family's fountain pen life. Yes, okay, anyway. Moving on from there, then I had my first, actually no, it was my second Halloween gathering. The first one was it was, I think, a week before this one, so it was like in the middle of October, and I had dressed up as a burnt out and in denial businessman. I had like this name tag, which is now not in my reach, but the name tag said, hello, I am, and then burnt out and in denial, and I looked like a businessman, and it's just my worst fear, being stuck in kind of this kind of work cycle and then being burnt out, so I dressed up as my worst fear. I guess I sometimes take Halloween a bit too seriously, so just a side note. Then this time, this was like a proper gathering. Like the place was really beautifully decorated. It was in the upstairs of a really old pub in Paddington of London. So we had a great pleasure like getting to attend this Halloween party, and I dressed up as a clown. This is a very blurry photo of me in my clown costume. I'm very much not recognizable from this photo, so I don't mind at all sharing it out there. But I am really proud of this costume, so I wanted to put a photo here, and I had a great time that evening as well. Ka was also dressed up as a clown, and we actually won the best costume of the night, so great times. I also managed to make the traditional Hong Kong style milk tea at home, and we drank it from our cups that we had gotten from Hong Kong that look exactly like this. So this sticker was the perfect representation of what like our activities that Friday morning, because I had that day off from my hospital placement, and I hope to make that again. And I'm trying to find time to put this recipe in my commonplace book, but I've been so busy that the time has not found itself to be present for me to put this recipe into my commonplace book. But once I have done that, I will share a photo of it, at least on Instagram. And then I have been really enjoying the stickers that came along with Megan's Halloween zine. Like, they are perfect for these pages, and I really wasn't sparing their use because I just wanted them to be present in this last week of October. And they just give me a really happy feeling. The day after the Halloween party that we went to, we discovered yet another area of it's almost like a wetland. They have huge fields, but they also have a bunch of lakes. So we were walking around this lake and just enjoying kind of the crispy like leaves on the path around the lake. So this is ephemera from that. And once again, I've been writing across the page, which is new for me, but it just means that I'm able to hold on to my thoughts a bit more tightly, because the reason I write in these really tiny columns, or like quite narrow columns, is that I can see my thought flow better, because the second that I switch over to the next line, I can see what I was writing about on the top line. Because like, I used to be very nervous about writing, no matter what kind of writing it was, academic, personal, doesn't matter. It somehow used to be really difficult for me, and that was actually one of the reasons that I started journaling daily like 1.5 years ago. Feels like it's been a lot longer than that. But I guess it means that a lot has happened between that time and now. But yeah, I just naturally wrote across the page here, and I really love how it looks like. Yeah, just wanted to point that out. Here I've written in my red ink, autumn air in my nostrils. Then it was a Sunday of daylight savings, and it got dark so early, and I was not expecting it. And while I was doing my YouTube live on this day, it got dark like midway through. But we had a really wonderful, cozy time, and you can actually see the live on the live tab. So you can see, I think, whenever you go to someone's channel, you can see like home, videos, live, and community. So it's on the live tab. Then it was Monday once again. The cycles kept going, but I kept having a wonderful autumnal time. Actually, this is one thing I wanted to point out. So ginkgo trees are one of my favorites, like favorite trees, and I've never seen them before I moved to London. They have lots of ginkgo trees here, and I believe that's what the name is at least. And they have a lot around where we live as well. They change color very quickly and very vibrantly, from green to this brilliant yellow. And I picked one up on our walk and put it here. So as I mentioned, there's quite a few leaves in these October pages. Like I said, then it was Monday again, and I kept having new beautiful experiences that I'm learning so much at my current hospital placement. And I changed the style just a little bit of how I'm archiving these experiences. And then I remember being quite tired at the end of that Monday. So I was watching a film, I think, that evening. Or was I watching... Oh, I was watching Gilmore Girls. Yeah, that's become the theme of the season. So I put this sticker from Megan here. They're really beautiful stickers. So I've been kind of extra intentional about not hoarding them. I've been wanting to use them because they are very seasonal and beautiful in that way. Yeah, and the archival of experiences at the hospital continues, and so do kind of this earth-toned color theme. And then we were getting very close to Halloween, and actually Halloween itself was a very busy day for me because I was at the hospital from a very early time, and then right after hospital I went to see a friend, and I got home at 10, and then I just basically enjoyed some Halloween treats and watched a movie and fell asleep. So no journaling was done on that day. However, yesterday we had our second London journal meetup, and I actually this time around, rather than just chatting the whole time, even though we did a lot of that as well, I had some time to do a bit of journaling. So I put down my ephemera for Halloween, and now I'm really excited to kind of backfill these memories. Before I get ahead of myself, I did want to mention how happy it has made me that on this Wednesday I finally got a bookshelf for the flat, or me and Ka got a bookshelf for the flat, and we built it together. And now the top shelf is kind of dedicated to journals. So I have all of my journals in a chronological order. From the time that I was like 15, I kept bullet journal styled journals for a few years until I tried to make everything digital, which was of course a big mistake. But even during that time I had some sketchbooks and stuff, so I have all of those lined up in a chronological order, including now my Commonplace books and my Hobonichi books. And it's just such a joy to have a place for them. And of course my 2025 books are sitting at the end of the row, like getting acquainted with the old books. And here is the last page of October, and we are moving into November. November for me is always a month that I forget that exists. I literally am ready to move on to December once October finishes, and then there's a whole November in between. And I guess it is these days being called the month in between, which makes total sense. For me, it's a month of kind of preparation. I'm preparing to take time off in December. I'm preparing to change the year. Because for me, the new year is always a really wonderful opportunity to reflect on the past year and use it as an opportunity in a way to be more present rather than looking to the past. So I'm leaving the past where it belongs, in the past. So November is that kind of season for me, and it's also a season of thinking about my loved ones, my friends, and getting gifts for them. So I have this cutout from Choosing Keeping, which is a stationery shop in London, and I know that I'm going to pick up a few things from there because they have some really wonderful things that I think a lot of my friends will appreciate as little Christmas gifts. But this is not a spoiler. I have a little stamp of the Moomin house, and then also a reminder that I'm having a trip to Brussels towards the end of the month. So it's kind of like an overview of what's to come. And here we are with slightly incomplete pages. Like I said, I'm not feeling too good today and not perfectly in myself. And I've been struggling with some weird, like, I'm not sure what it even is. Maybe it's the change of the seasons. I'm not quite sure. I've been trying to write a lot these days to kind of try to figure out why things are not flowing as smoothly as they did kind of in October. But I'm not in a hurry to try to figure it out. Not everything needs to be figured out right then and there. But it's interesting because whenever there's empty space, because usually I fill up these pages so quickly that because I have a lot to say and it just flows out of me. But these days things seem to not flow as easily, and I'm just accepting that. But the empty space does make me think a bit about like what is going on. But yeah, I'll let you know once I get more clarity on what my brain is going through at the moment. I did want to say that on Friday I had some guests over at my place, and we went to see Heretic, which is actually a horror film. And I'm very famously absolutely terrified of horror films, and I, like, when I saw like my first horror film, I cried because of how scared I was. I was like 11 or 12, but still I feel like, wow, that's an achievement to cry because of how scared you are. So I get spooked very easily, and because of that I've never really had a good experience of watching a horror film, even though I know there's some brilliant ones out there. However, we went to see this one called Heretic, and it was really, really good. It has who is the guy from Notting Hill? Well, it's like on the tip of my tongue, and I know I'm gonna remember it after I finish wrapping up this video. But if you've seen Notting Hill, it's the main guy from that. Why can't I remember his name? Anyway, you would think that this guy who was really good at doing rom-coms wouldn't be that good of being a villain in a horror film, but he was really, really brilliant. And this was a little bit of like an escape house or escape room themed horror film, like just amazingly done. It's by the production company A24, and I already loved their films, so I had high expectations and they were very much met. I need to still do my little like star rating here as well. And then we had the London Journal meetup just yesterday, and it was quite a busy day, and I was quite tired afterwards, but like tired and happy. So there's a couple of memories that need to be added in here. I am, however, like I've mentioned quite a few times that there's some pages that need a bit of additional memories to be noted down, and I'm aware that there's quite a few of them in this month. So realistically, I have no expectations for myself to fill them in, but I know that often I do go through my pages, and sometimes I just get the urge to think about that day and note down whatever I was thinking about and what the memories were. So I assume that they will get filled in, but also if they don't, that's also okay. Yeah. And then finally we are at today, with the only proper decoration being Gudetama, the sticker that shows Gudetama being slightly distressed. And somehow, I mean, if you know the character Gudetama's always not having a great time. Like, Gudetama's never having a great time. And somehow I was like, oh, like, Gudetama's a good example that it's okay to not have a great time. So I wanted to put one of these down here. I think I have a few other Gudetama stickers in this sticker release notebook from Traveler's Company. Not having a great time, not having a great time. And then I think I have a few on my food related pages, just like generally just not having a great time, but it's okay. We go through these phases, and Gudetama is here with us when we go through them. But I am really grateful for this community that I have, which makes space for me to talk about these things. And to be honest, I feel a bit better now than I did before I started to film, because I've gotten to talk through the really fun memories that I had over this beautiful October. It's definitely been one of the best Octobers that I've had in a good long time. And even these empty pages give me such joy, because I remember what a beautiful busy day I had. Not busy, but what a full day I had. Doing some things that I really love. This was a theme park day, and this was a day kayaking, day of kayaking. So yeah, looking forward to what November has to bring. It's more than just a month in between, and I shall keep you updated. I did want to show a little bit of this guy before we sign off. I have had quite a few days where my thoughts are spilling over, and for example today I finished up this whole page before it was 11 a.m. because of, I was struggling mentally, and I needed to find a way to figure out what was happening. Why did I feel like I'm walking in sticky mud trying to write down sentences that usually come out very easily. So this was my extra notebook that came along with my Hobonichi books for the upcoming year, and I have been using it as a common collection of unhinged words, things that are just kind of spilling over from these pages, and I have no page limit on how many pages I want to fill per day. I like that here artists are saying, yeah, so no format and barely any, there's no need to decorate anything. It's just, it feels good to have this kind of a space. Before I used to have a A5 really slim Hobonichi memo pad that I would keep at the back of here, but then I finished that very, very quickly, and I realized that it's not thick enough for me to realistically keep changing every 2 or 3 weeks or something like that. So I then turned to my traveler's notebook treasure journal, so the place where I keep all of my extra ephemera in. But I also noticed that that is so full of, I am now in a way, just without myself noticing it, I'm reserving that for my extra ephemera. So I don't have the intention to just go and write pages and pages of things that are just overflowing thoughts from my daily pages. And then I just realized that I just happen to have this guy lying around, because of course this is not something that you choose to receive, you will just get it. And I thought that I will use this in this way. And I'm also really enjoying using this Pentel Mate Hop 1.1 mil pen, gel pen, which writes really thick, and somehow that just helps me get down those words that I need to face. Yeah, so I'm enjoying having this one, but this is usually sitting on my nightstand, so it's really rarely something that I carry along with me. But nevertheless, I wanted to mention how it's an unplanned companion that I have now with my book. Oh, okay. Oh, that felt good to talk about all those things. Something that I am looking forward to talking about in the future as well is my commonplace book. Things have been going well over there, but I hope that I can find some more time to actually spend in that commonplace book, because life is feeling very busy at the moment. But until next Sunday, I hope that you have a really, really lovely week, and I'm very excited for rest of the things that I get to share with you in this year. And we're also coming towards the end of the year, which means that I get to do my 3-part series, probably 3-part series of changing books, which I did also earlier this year because I'm in the Avec, so I have 2 books a year. And it was a really fun time and a really intentional way to change from one book that I am emotionally invested in, and this book has such a hold on me, to then moving on to another book which is new and fresh and just a baby. And yes, I'm excited to share that journey of changing books with you once again. But okay, enough for today. I hope that you have a lovely, restful Sunday or whichever day of the week that you're watching. I hope your Halloween was fun and safe. And I will see you next Sunday again. Bye bye.